Thanks, dear viewers, for joining us on this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, 2 persons have died in a road accident in Banga in the Mongo Division littoral region of Cameroon. The accident occurred earlier today on National Highway number 5, and it has been blamed on the bad state of the road in that part of the country. And out of Cameroon, the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the Ethiopian Prime Minister for his role in efforts to end the over 20-year-old or 20-year-long war between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Those were our top stories. Another road accident on National Highway number 5 leaves 2 persons dead in the locality of Mbanga in the Mongo Division littoral region of the country. The accident occurred at about 1 a.m. Today, involving 2 lorries and Hiace bus. And of course, the accident occurred not far from the Technical High School in Banga, and the accident left 2 persons dead on the spots. And of course, information streaming into our newsroom indicates that the accident involved a lorry transporting brewery products and another lorry transporting gravel and a Hiace bus, and the 2 persons who died on the spot were occupants of the Hiace bus. And of course, the accident occurred at night, and it has been blamed on the bad state of the road in that part of the country, notably the National Highway number 5, which has recorded several accidents within a very short interval of time. In the report coming up next, we're going to talk about one of the members of the diaspora who was invited by the PM for the major national dialogue which took place in Yaoundé. And of course, Padia Sanga was part of the 5-day deliberations at the national or at the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, to find a way out of the Anglophone crisis. And he was later arrested and detained for taking pictures and images within the Yaoundé incarceration prison center in Kondengi. And he was released later. He spoke to Equinox Television, and Innocent as he compiled this report.
Padia Sanga, a Cameroonian residing in Germany, is now a freed man after he was arrested at the Kondengi prison recently for taking images of the detention facility as he went visiting some Anglophone detainees. This, the major national dialogue in which he participated, wrapped up. He spent just a few hours at the Mfunde Central Administrative Court of First Instance in Yaoundé.
Je me suis rendu en Kondengi.
Padia Sanga recounts that he wants to pay his Anglophone brothers in Kondengi a visit to explain what was said during the major national dialogue. He discussed with the Coffin Revolution leaders, Mancho BBC, Felix Ngalim, and other detainees. That he told them they, representatives of the diaspora and other Anglophone representatives in Cameroon, fought to acquire a special status for the Northwest and Southwest regions because they are the lone people who had decided by vote to become Cameroonians. Thus, the special status be impregnated with content.
Il faut qu'on mette le contenu dans ce statut spécial.
To him, this turned crazy when he decided to take a group picture with the Anglophone detainees.
Des ex-combattants ou bien les gars.
While doing so, a group of prisoners saw this and reported to a prison warder, who came and asked his telephone, which was quietly handed over to him. He was later given back the phone but almost lynched by other detainees of the Anglophone crisis for unknown reasons.
J'ai failli eu un lynchage par les ambazoniens qui étaient en prison.
As the event unfolded, it was the Gendarmerie Brigade that was in charge of the affair.
Le commandant de la gendarmerie,
the commander sent him at the State Defense Secretariat, said, where he was identified by some said officials as a participant of the just ended Major National Dialogue, stating he was very active in the dialogue process. As such, he was sent back to the Gendarmerie Brigade, where he was accused for certain false information dissemination and engaging in illegal manifestation.
non-officier.
Finally, the prosecutor of the Mfundi Central Administrative Court of First Instance decided to free Padia Sanga after ordering him to delete the photos taken in Kondengi. To Padia Sanga, there are certain personalities who do not want the Anglophone crisis to end.
Il y a les gens dans ce pays.
He says both Anglophone and Francophone personalities do not want end of the war in the Northwest and Southwest regions for their political gains and selfish interests.
Anglophone comme francophone ici au pays.
That these same persons are those who landed Cameroon where it is today.
Et c'est ce gens-là qui font tout ce manigance-là pour qu'on arrive là où on est arrivé.
Padia Sanga has announced he will be in the field in the days ahead to share the outcomes of the Major National Dialogue with internally displaced persons of the Anglophone crisis and other suffering Cameroonians.
And another person who was arrested recently and is still in detention is Abdul Karim Ali, a Muslim scholar of the Christian Bible, and he is in detention at the State Defense Secretariat in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. He has been detained for a long period of time now, several weeks, and without any communication. He has been detained incommunicado, and he does not have access to his family members, or family members are not granted access to him, and many other persons. He has been detained for several weeks now, and the reasons for his detention remain unknown to the public till now. He was arrested shortly after he was received here on the 6 p.m. news. In the second part of the news, it should be noted that he is one of the persons who have been very vocal and outspoken on the Anglophone crisis and other socio-political problems affecting the Republic of Cameroon. We shall be talking about that later in this newscast. Now we go over to Kutaba in the west region of the country to talk about the government bilingual high school of that locality, which is plagued by several problems. The school is harboring over 400 internally displaced persons. Details in this report compiled by Fomi Armstrong Sander.
More than 1 month into the 2019-2020 school year, a hitch-free teaching and learning environment remains a dream to staff and learners of Government Bilingual High School Kutaba in the known division of the West region of Cameroon. The institution has seen its problems multiply this school year with the coming of over 410 internally displaced students from the conflict-stricken Anglophone regions of Cameroon. The increased number of learners, school authorities say, has exposed the problems of limited benches and classrooms in Government Bilingual High School Kutaba.
À la rentrée, nous avons reçu 410 nouveaux élèves.
With the coming of the huge number of students, we agreed with the Parents Teachers Association to construct new classrooms to accommodate them, but also noticed that they could not be comfortably seated in classrooms and study because of the limited benches. We then considered the fabrication of new benches as a priority. Today, 250 benches have been made available by the Parents Teachers Association.
Les toilettes se sont effondrées, aussi bien les toilettes des filles que
GBHS Kutaba also has a problem with its toilet, as officials say over 17 toilets in the school have been broken. They know it is a problem that requires an urgent solution, but are financially unable to respond.
Nous avons perdu près de 17 compartiments de toilettes.
The stretch of road that leads to Government Bilingual High School Kutaba is in a pathetic state, and school officials blame it on vehicles transporting building materials. The known division borders the northwest region of Cameroon and Government Bilingual High School Kutaba is begging for more government attention as internally displaced learners continue to flood in from the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
And many of them, hundreds of thousands of them, internally displaced students and pupils in the Mongo division are facing a plethora of problems. They are living in very difficult conditions, having difficulties in putting food on the table on a daily basis, and many of them are still expecting aid from the Yaoundé administration within the context of the close to 13 billion francs CFA humanitarian aid put in place by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. They are depending on men and women of goodwill. Details in this report compiled by Fomi Armstrong Sander and Jackie Nomolo.
Their sufferings are increasing day by day. Their numbers also increasing. Non-governmental organizations show that they have tripled compared to last year. They are pupils, students and parents forced out of their homes in the conflict-hit southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon to the Mongo division of the littoral region. Life has taken a very difficult and bitter twist for them. Amid suffering and hardship, they have come from different parts of Lum and Penja to receive relief aid from the Aya International Foundation.
They are people like us, and the situation is getting bad, worse and worse. And we just think that if there are many more people doing this, then there will be less people in these very precarious conditions as those who are here in Mongo Division.
I want to say thank you to the Aya Foundation for the gifts and the things that he has brought for the internally displaced persons in Lum.
To solve the problem of lodging and other social amenities, these dormitory and toilets have been constructed for the internally displaced persons in one of the schools in Lum.
We have all witnessed the amount of girls that are prostituting. There are lots of them, not this one by me, but they are doing so because they lack where to stay. They don't have where to stay and they don't have what to feed them. So we are providing that accommodation free. We are hoping to house about 70 girls there. We will follow them up throughout the year. We provide them what we can provide for them to eat. And we are hoping that at least we could curb that phenomenon of prostitution among the IDP girls.
At first, most of us could not come and live here, could not come to Lum to continue our educations because of nowhere to live, no money, but we thank God for the opportunity that He has given us again by creating us a girls' dorm here in Oxford Academic Complex.
The girls are suffering because they don't have places to sleep. They go and sleep outside and get pregnant. And they are facing serious difficulties, and that's why we're thanking the Aya Foundation for coming to construct a building where the girls can stay and sleep peacefully without loitering around the town. And I pray that God should intervene in this crisis because many people have died because of the incident that is going, gunshots in the Anglophone regions, and that's why we have come to Lum.
Their general wish is for lasting peace to return to the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon so they can go back home.
And some students were unable to reach their school premises because of floods in Ezeka. And of course, Ezeka is in the Nyong and Kele division in the central region of the Republic of Cameroon. The locality was over-flooded following a heavy downpour. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
School is a good thing. Learning is a good thing. But what if the geographical circumstances are not favorable for kids going to school? We are in Ezeka, located in the Nyong and Kele division, central region of Cameroon. The locality has been flooded following the heavy rains experienced in the area, thus affecting the circulation of vehicles and pedestrians. School-going children are now obliged to pay the sum of 100 francs CFA as fare so as to be transported to the other side of the road. For those who cannot afford paying the fare, walking through the floods is another option. The floods has affected neighborhoods like Hausa, Aviation, Tetem and Mala, resulting to enormous material damages.
It's a serious rainfall. The whole night there was rain. That's how we slept until we did not know that's how the thing is going to look like. Before, in the middle of the night at about 2 o'clock, we got up when the rain has already entered the house. Everything was floating outside. Everything. That's how things were outside, floating. Our dresses soaked inside water. All our pan pots, they were on top of the water. So we came out that night. That's how we carried some things and put it outside beside our neighbor's house. And finally we went and sat beside the road. There was no way for us to stay in the house. Everywhere, the quarter, all is being flooded with water.
The mayor of the Zeka Council blames the haphazard construction of houses and climate change as the root cause of the incident. Before the coming of the floods, we had already started sensitizing the population. Climate change and urban disorder are some of the major causes of the floods. Most of the inhabitants have built their houses on drainage systems. So, what are they expecting? The administrative authorities have cautioned parents to always accompany their kids to school so as to avoid them from experiencing the negative effects of the floods. The population are calling on authorities concerned to react fast in resolving their plights.
And now back to students in the 2 Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon. School attendance is gradually improving or increasing in Kumba 2 subdivision in the Meme Division Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The division officer visited some schools to take stock of the situation. We have details with Hemin Iluga.
682 is the present number of primary pupils attending classes in the Kumba 2 subdivision, a remark then made by the divisional officer of Kumba 2, Edwin Kenya Ngwana, who has recently ensured an inspection tour, one which saw the handing of some didactic materials among other school needs handed to children to ease learning and teaching, while encouraging reluctant parents to send your kids to school.
We move around with didactic materials, school bags, books, pencils, rulers, and many other didactic materials to encourage the children to effectively start classes. The schools in Kumba 2 have actually started. This visit to schools today is also another measure to appeal to parents to know that schools have started and to send their children to school, because there is no meaningful development without education.
Though school seems to have timidly resumed in Kumba 2, it should be noted that serenity is still far-fetched in some areas within the southwest region. A good example being Munyenge, where parents and children of school-going ages are still wrapped in fear. In a bid to revamp a peaceful learning environment, the divisional officer has then encouraged more parents to send your kids to school, as he also handed some 5 internally displaced pupils from Munyenge to the school staff for a better follow-up and integration.
Relative calm now reigns in Sang-Melima in the Jan Lobo Division South region of the Republic of Cameroon. Inhabitants of the locality have been on the street in violent confrontations provoked by the killing of a commercial motorbike rider, and a crisis meeting took place today in Sang-Melima, chaired by the governor of the South region in a bid to find lasting solutions to the problem. We have details with our reporters Manjik and Gebre.
It is the Eagles Junction in Sang-Melima that was taken hostage by angry inhabitants on day 2 of the strike action in the locality. After the strike action, those who are angry, however, had time to sing the national anthem.
du nord au sud, de l'est à l'ouest, tout amour, et c'est lui que ce soit le salut, pour remplir le devoir du jour. J'ai pas chérie, les chérie, qui est notre seul et vrai bonheur, notre joie et notre vie, par l'amour et le
Notwithstanding the arrival of a reinforcement from the military that came from Yaoundé, the situation remained tense on Thursday. On day 2 of the unrest in Saint-Milima, business places remained shut down while other activities were simply paralyzed. Some persons were, however, unlucky because their business places were destroyed by the protesters.
Out of Cameroon, the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded the Ethiopian Prime Minister, and of course Abiy Ahmed received that prize for his role in efforts to end the 20-year-old or the 20-year war between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Announcing the prize in Oslo, the Norwegian Nobel Peace Committee said Abiy's efforts deserve recognition and need encouragement. Courtesy Euronews. We're talking about the Nobel Peace Prize awarded the Ethiopian Prime Minister for his role in efforts to end the 20-year war between his country and Eritrea. And of course, while announcing the Peace Prize, the Norwegian Nobel Committee said that Abiy's efforts deserve recognition and encouragement. Courtesy Euronews.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2019 to Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali for his efforts to achieve peace and international cooperation, and in particular for his decisive initiative to resolve the border conflict with neighboring Eritrea. The prize is also meant to recognize the stakeholders working for peace and reconciliation in Ethiopia and in the East and Northeast African regions. When Abiy Ahmed became Prime Minister in April 2018, he made it clear that he wished to resume peace talks with Eritrea. In close cooperation with Isaias Afwerki, the president of Eritrea, Abiy Ahmed quickly worked out the principles for a peace agreement to end the long no peace, no war stalemate between the two countries. These principles are set out in the declarations that Prime Minister Abiy and President Afwerki signed in Asmara and Jeddah in July and September.
Talking Point is up next. We are receiving a member of the civil society in the Republic of Cameroon, Ibrahim Ali Saddam. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Babila. I would like to greet the natives of one village in the Northwest region called Abakwa, and they are good people, they are welcoming.
Thank you. First of all, I want to have your take on one of the major conclusions of the major national dialogue which took place in Yaoundé, special status for the northwest and southwest regions of the country. As a civil society leader, what's your take on this?
Yeah, Mr. Babila, you have to know that the uprising in the northwest and southwest region is an issue of ideology, and what the Northwest and the Southwesterners want is the betterment of the living standard and conditions. So be it in the federal system or in the unity state or outright independence, I believe what we want is the goodness of the people of the North and Southwest region. So according to me, the special statute could be a good thing. The only problem is that it is not yet defined. It's a blind statute. So we're waiting up to the government to come and define what they mean by the special statute to the people of the North and Southwest region. And my fear is that we have some signals, some signs that some members of other regions in Cameroon are asking for the special statute. If the Northerners ask for a special statute, and it can spread, it can be like a wildfire, eventually we're going to have 10 regions with special statute, which bows down to a federation. All right.
Abdul Karim Ali, a Muslim scholar of the Christian Bible, has been in detention for weeks now incommunicado, and world religious and civil society leaders, including Pope Francis and some renowned Muslim leaders, have been calling for his release. What's the situation now? What's the situation of Ali right now?
We were very surprised, and it was like we were just perplexed and confused that after the Prime Minister issued invitation to some ambassador leaders in court in diaspora, we expected them to be in Yaoundé for the national dialogue. Suddenly, we discovered that 5 days to the dialogue, Abdul Karim, who is a civil society activist and an opinion leader, was arrested in Yaoundé. So it becomes like, I don't know, was it a trap for the ambassador leaders in the diaspora? Questions are asked. But now he has been arrested, and he is still incommunicado. We have to know that Cameroon is a party for the international law or international covenant for civil and political rights and the Convention of against torture and ill treatment. So incommunicado and prolonged detention incommunicado is the violation of human rights. The family is unable to get access to him, and you look at the case of Paddy. It's as if there are some people in the dark who actually don't want this Anglophone crisis to be solved, because a leader is somebody who knows the way, who goes the way, and who shows the way. President Pobia knows the solution to this crisis. He goes the way, and he has shown the way. But unfortunately for us, it's as if there are some unseen persons in the background who want to be inciting violence. And if you look at the social media, you see some fake documents going around that the Muslim in Abakwa, the Hausa people, are going to rally against and manifest, which is a fake document. The people of the Northwest region or the Abakwa people, I know them, are peaceful people. We're just waiting on to the government to come out and make a public statement in regard to the detention of our brother Abdul Karim.
Earlier, you mentioned the invitation of Ambazonian leaders to take part in the major national dialogue. What is the link between Abdul Karim Ali, who is a Muslim scholar of the Christian Bible, a civil society leader, an opinion leader, and Ambazonian leaders?
Yeah, openly we can say the link that Abdul Karim has is a link that you have and I have, because when we go to the social media, we see their publications, and we look at them. We are human beings who may react. Either we can drop a comment or we stay put, but within us we have our reaction. I don't know, maybe he has a private communication with the ambassador leaders, which I don't know. What I know is that the Swiss embassy contacted him in regards to the Swiss initiated mediation dialogue to take that was to be heard in Switzerland. But unfortunately, he was invited to Switzerland. Actually, he went with he met some ambassador leaders, of which he was not informed that those leaders were going to be there. When he came back to Cameroon, I believe it was on a Tuesday, he passed through your TV station, and he had to go back to Yaoundé to give a report to the ambassador. And unfortunately, after his discussion, immediately he came out of the embassy. He was arrested. So our greatest problem is he's incommunicado. We don't know what's happening, and the government is silent. And we know silence means silence can be misinterpreted.
So the link between him and ambassador leader is just communication, that he communicated with them, he discussed with them, probably discussing issues concerning the country, concerning the crisis, and so on. But does that explain why he was arrested?
No, there's a correction. I haven't said he discussed with them. I know that
he just met them in the embassy.
Yeah, no, not in the embassy, in Switzerland. He met some leaders in Switzerland. When he came back to Cameroon, he went back to the ambassador because to go to Switzerland you need a visa. That ambassador issued a visa to him, and he was being contacted by the Swiss embassy for that Swiss initiated so-called dialogue.
All right. So he has been detained for weeks now, incommunicado, and there are also information that he was sick and that he has been under starvation, something like that.
Yeah, those are rumors coming because since we can't have adequate information from the State Defense Secretariat, which is said in Yaoundé, those are rumors, and since he's afraid, maybe he's afraid of the type of food given him there, that's why he's on starvation. But we know the President of the Republic is somebody who cannot order for confusion, because we look at it, the atmosphere seems to be a confused atmosphere, wherein we are calling for reconciliation and we are calling for peace to return. Then at the same time, we are inciting violence in the minds of some people. So what we are praying is that Abdul Karim is what we call an opinion leader, and he's one of those people that I thought the government could use him to compromise with the Anglophone crisis. You know, some people went to the dialogue with an outright mind of federation, but coming out, I believe, after the debate, they understood what it meant by the special statute. So I think if people like Abdul Karim could be used in a dialogue, they can be compromised through debate and not through duress.
And they are now calling world leaders, including the Pope, and some renowned Muslim leaders are calling for his liberation.
Yeah, the Cameroon government should first of all tell us why he's detained, and from there we are going to see if there's a reason for his detention, because it's a saying that justice is true in action.
All right, last word before we go.
Before we go, I would like to beg the government, we're pleading to the government that we need community mobilization, and because there's a saying that 1,000 army is nothing without a general. We need community mobilization to enlighten people on actually the government policy and things like that, without which it's going to be very difficult for us to attain our goals of returning peace to the Anglophone regions.
Thanks, Ibrahim Ali Saddam. You are a member of the civil society. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, Babila.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.